Hi, it is Constitutional Kitty. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. So, today we're going to talk about divorce, and this is the look that I am going for. And this is the TikTok makeup hack that I'll be using too. And in all of this, I've never done a makeup look like this, so we're going to discover this process together and see if this is going to work. Find out on this episode of Dragon Ball Z. And as always, the disclaimer. Again, this is advice. This is at best a guideline, a framework, an FYI really, not actual legal advice. If you want that, you're more than welcome to DM me or send me an email. Please, just take this as the learning and teaching experience this is supposed to be. For both the makeup and the law, I guess. Your marriage is over. It's over. What do you do now? Around 2021, Stats SA did a report. And in this report, of the 18,000 marriages, 18,000 divorces, there was a 13.1% increase from 2020 to 2021. I mean, let's also remember the fact that there was a huge decline in marriages in 2020 because of COVID. So about 20,000 people less got married. On average, 100,000 civil marriages are concluded in South Africa per year. I will say this, South Africans are a bit more circumspect about getting married. It shows in the stats there's a steady decline in the number. So yeah, it's 100,000 weddings a year, but it's been declining for the past 10 years because I think a lot of people are realizing what a scam this is. So, of those 18,000 odd divorces that were granted, 50.4% of them were from the Black indigenous population of this country. 17% roughly were from the Black colored indigenous folk of this country. 20% was from the white population of this country, and about 4% was from the Indian and Asian population in this country. And then I think about 2.7% was literally declared other. I have no idea what other means. If you take the same statistics and you actually calculate them as per population, you look at that 20% of the divorce rates, of the 18,000 divorce rate was done by the white population, right? But if you look at them per capita, that results in about 78 divorces per 100,000 white people. So their per capita, I guess, is a lot higher than everybody else's. Theirs is at 78 per 100,000 people. The colored population is at 61 divorces per 100,000 people. The Indian and Asian population is at about 57 divorces per 100,000, and then the Black community is tailing in at the end. They're at 19 divorces per 100,000 people. So yeah, the termination of this legally recognized marital relationship. So the apportionment of the marital estate is subject to the matrimonial property regime that you and your partner chose in your antenuptial contract that I have been telling you to have if you get married. And remember, matrimonial property regime, in community of property, out of community of property, out of community of property with accrual. Those marital property regimes, this is the part where they come in handy, and this is the part and why I insist that it should be out and out. So there's no confusion if this were to happen. But anyway, even with it's out and out, divorces are just messy, end of story, despite whatever matrimonial property system you have, because people get messy and people get vindictive and it's all about them and all that shit. So I swore. There are a few legal grounds for divorce, and we're going to chat about them. The first one up for discussion is the irretrievable breakdown of a marriage. I think that one is in its name. You must prove and allege that there has been a irretrievable breakdown. Now, what the court has done and what legislatures have also done is not specify exactly what a breakdown is, only that there must be one. Again, they were trying to get away with that thing of being objectively subjective, because the truth of the matter is, for some people, cheating is done. The relationship is over. And for others, cheating becomes the rise and fall that they conquered in their relationship. So it's not up to the court to tell you what an irretrievable breakdown is in your relationship, but when you allege it to the court on your own facts, you must prove it. You go from, oh my God, we're getting married, to Charles, it's me. The relationship there must be no chances of reconciliation. And that's what you must also allege in your papers, and that's what you also have to confirm in front of the court. The fact that there's a breakdown, there's no coming back from this for you, there's no chances of reconciliation, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, everything's always done on a case-by-case basis, or it's done on its own merits. So with whatever you allege, the court will apply their discretion as fairly as they can, in accordance to the circumstances that you find yourself in. So while I blend, we're gonna have a chat about the other grounds for divorce. The one I'm gonna talk about now is permanent unconsciousness. I don't really think I have to go into detail, but permanent unconsciousness doesn't really need explanation. As I contour, another grounds for divorce is mental illness. And this one is actually quite testy because, it basically says that you have to prove that the mental illness is incurable. And the thing is, this was also written in a time where mental illness or mental awareness wasn't exactly the best, most understood area of the law, even now. So I find this one a bit testy, but I'm going to just infer, with the fact that the court is the custodian of everybody, I'm going to infer that what they mean is that this person poses such a threat to you that it is unreasonable to expect you to still be married to them. And so forth, the contributing factor to that should be your mental illness. Whether it ranges from the worst schizophrenic case to the lightest touch of depression, as I said, it's decided on merit. So I'm just gonna be nice to the court and just assume that they're being reasonable, that they mean what I think they mean. You can leave someone if they pose a danger to you. You can leave someone if they're sick and they don't want to get better. You're more than welcome to leave. Guys, you have a constitutional right to freedom of movement, okay? There's nothing that you have to do other than respect other people. That's it. Respect yourself, respect other people, don't murder them. That's it. But for some reason, South African men think death is divorce. This one's kind of funny because the other ground for divorce is if your spouse is a habitual criminal. Habitual criminal. They have a tendency of breaking the law. When your person went off to war and died and didn't return, you would be granted a divorce because your person literally went AWOL. It's like olden times. And even before, they would have a basis for people to divorce because their partners just disappeared. They've been trash. I'm being nice about it, but we know which gender it is. In a way, not even in a way, when a death happens, we treat the estate or the division of the estate like it is a divorce. First, we take the estate of the marital couple, see which matrimonial property regime that they're in, divorce them to get the deceased person's estate. Once we have the deceased person's estate, then we divvy up their assets as per their will, which is a testate estate. This is an estate where there's a will telling us what to do. If there is no will, then we have an interstate estate, and then the law will divvy it up for you. I mean this in the nicest way humanly possible. If your partner just decides to up and jump and become a runner and a track star, you have two ways in which you can reach out to this person and make sure that you can divorce them. There is the substituted service, and then there's an edictal citation. So when you don't necessarily know the whereabouts of your partner, but have a rough idea of where they are, you can go to court and make an application by way of the substituted service. You show the court that you've tried everything to find this person, including a tracing agent, which your lawyer will assist you with. You've tried everything, homeboy is missing, but you know that he's around Garankuwa. Then you go to the court and make an application for your summons to be published on the Daily Sun in the Garankuwa area, which then the court will then allow. If you want to fuck around and find out, you know you can get a summons served on you on social media. But the substituted service is limited in one respect, that if your partner or your ex soon-to-be boo-boo, your soon-to-be ex-flame, they must still be within South Africa. If they are not in South Africa, then you have to use an edictal citation. With an edictal citation, it's just a really, really fancy way of saying, I want the court to give me permission to ask the court in the jurisdiction where my ex soon-to-be husband beloved is hiding, so I can serve them with those papers. When it comes to whatever application that you make, treat the court like a raging queen. You have to announce everywhere, we're under the jurisdiction of this honorable court, your majesty, my lord, your worship. And this is why. Jurisdiction. So jurisdiction is basically the power and the competence of a court to hear a certain matter. The nature of the claim, the value of the claim, and location. In the same application, you must also put in the manner of service that you want via Facebook, per email, per letter, per tonton. You must just tell the court that this is probably the most likely one that he will respond to, that she will respond to, that they will respond to. Include the last known whereabouts of your soon-to-be ex-boo. And you must also add evidence of your attempts to find said ex-boo. Then we have the types of divorces. There's just a contested divorce and an uncontested divorce. It's my favorite ones. You don't even have to go too far with this one. It is very, very simple. By mutual agreement. So like in general, when you get to court with like an uncontested one, because obviously there was no fighting, so it's like, okay, summons issued, you receive your summons, you're like, okay, sharp, you don't defend the matter, you get a court date, they send you a notice of set down. And it's not complicated because you do a lot of the work for the court. You know what I mean? Like if the settlement is in place, the court looks at it, it's like, oh, is it a business with the kid? If the children are involved, they refer to the family advocate, and summons are issued, no fight. Get to court. Decree of divorce granted. This is why I like this one. Very, very small margin for shit to go wrong. A default divorce is granted when your ex tries to ghost you on divorce proceedings. Then we have the contested kind, and this is the one that everybody knows happens generally, and that's straight up beef. That's beef. Step 1 of the divorce proceedings, we open the pleadings with a summons, accompanied by your particulars of claim, the affidavit of the plaintiff, detailing everything, especially where your partner got you all the way fucked up. You also allege in that particulars of claim the irretrievable breakdown, and you detail why this irretrievable breakdown is one that you cannot come back from. Everything's collated together by your attorney. All of this will be sent to the sheriff's office for delivery. Court wants personal service when it comes to divorces, as in it must be handed to that person too, and then they must sign and say, sharp, I see this. The defendant gives in their notice of intention to defend. They have 10 days to do that, and once they've given their notice of intention to defend, they have another 20 days to submit their plea, which is their version, their particulars of claim. This is where they can hit you with a counterclaim. A counterclaim then inverses that entire situation. They hit you with the counterclaim, then you then have to have your notice of intention to defend and your plea to the counterclaim, and it goes back and forth like that. You can also bar someone's plea, and they can only do that if someone exceeds the amount of time that you have given them. If you fail to reach those 20 days, then the plaintiff will send you a notice of bar saying you've got 5 days to deliver this, or else you cannot defend this matter at all. So you need to honor that time constraint, or else it really does just work to your detriment, because it's you that loses. Then you can't defend, and then that part or whatever is alleged in the particulars of claim, either in the counterclaim or in the original claim, you cannot defend it. It means you accept that version as the truth, and the court will take the other person's version. So you don't want to miss this type of thing. You always want your version of events. Then we close the pleadings. Once the pleadings are closed, we enter into this period called discovery. With discovery, it's when there's a collection of evidence on either side, right? All the evidence that you will use to prove your side of the story in the divorce, that's when it's collected. So we don't have that thing of one day you wake up and you realize that, or someone comes in from an attorney's clerk having found photos of you having cheated from 5 million years ago, that turn the tides of the case around like that, and they walk in by saying, I object, and do that dramatic ass thing. We don't have that in South Africa. Everything must be admitted with the permission of the court, and that means that you have to disclose it to each other, because you make like a little application, and the subpoenas also come out to get each other's information. Like, this is where it gets really, really messy, if it gets here, which it usually does. Gets messy because now you're hitting each other's subpoenas for financial records to see where someone is hiding money. But everything that you will use as evidence will be discovered. There's no hiding things from each other. If it's hidden and not in discovery, then it's not evidence. Then we have a pre-trial conference, and this is what happens when you guys want to check out which parts you actually fight in court and which parts you'll admit to each other, or like a last chance for y'all to really try reach some form of agreement. But you basically decide on which parts you're gonna really fight on to limit the work of the court, really. Then we have the trial, on and on and on and on and on until we find an ending. In this regard, though, the ending is up to the court, because y'all decide to fight in front of the court, so the court is the one that makes the decision. Lawyers also try to get in there with their costs application. That's part of it. And usually they say, we'll fight for you and the other side will pay divorce costs. One side loses or one side wins, or the judge decides, nah, y'all are gonna pay for your own costs. So if there is a fight, a huge fight, depending on the matter that it is, the court itself will make the decision and the determination based on what you guys are arguing over, and will make a just and equitable decision in that regard. Whatever has been contested, whether it's patrimonial or non-patrimonial in its nature, the court will decide how that thing is dissolved. And whatever decision they reach and the decree of divorce that they give is binding and is law. But much like everything else, it can be appealed. But I don't know about appealing a divorce. Hey, I don't know if you want to extend this thing. I don't know if you want to really have this thing war out. But again, if you think a huge disservice has been done to you, of course. That's what divorce looks like. And this is why you have to be careful of who the hell you marry and why. This is your constitutional cutie giving you more makeup tips and law tips. And I think I nailed that look, to be quite honest.